Look what we have today. We have the 2018 Chevrolet Colorado ZR2 in this awesome blue color. Look at the stance on this thing. Look at the nose. We're gonna look at everything, go over the details, and then we're gonna go for a drive. Let's get started. Thank you so much for tuning in for this 2018 Chevrolet Colorado ZR2 review. Before I get started real quick, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Britain Chevrolet. Britain Chevrolet is a family-owned dealership. They're in the DFW area, so if you're in the area, please be sure to check them out. They've gone out of their way to make sure that this is made possible to show you guys these videos. So first thing I gotta say about this ZR2 is this is the Kinetic Blue Metallic. This paint color really pops. It really stands out. You can see the flake in it right there. I really like this color. It definitely shows everybody else what you got to offer, and it makes your ZR2 really pop. So you've got the ZR2 badging right there on the front. Obviously this is a completely different front end than what you would see on the typical Colorado. They did the bumper delete. We do have a skid plate down there on the bottom, as well as our recovery hooks. Plus this has a 3.5-inch wider front and rear track, and you can really see it. You can really tell this thing is wide, and that gives you better stability when you're off-roading, just like the Ford Raptor is a wide truck. Separate from what I had on the LT Colorado, that had reflector housing. We have projector beam housing. These are halogen bulbs. I would love to see HID or LED, but you can always substitute and put those in. This hood has a black insert as well, and we have the Duramax diesel, and it makes that known with its badge up there. Just another addition to the ZR2 to stand out. Of course, this does have an off-road suspension and appearance. On top of that, we have the segment exclusive Multimatic dynamic suspension. It's a damping system that's always working, and it's actually taken from the track, from the performance cars, which is something that's really cool. You can even see, the name of it. Plus, we have strong cast iron control arms for an even stronger, more durable truck. This also has segment exclusive front and rear locking differentials. The buttons are on the inside. With the regular Colorado, you can get a locking rear differential, but you can get front and rear here. We don't have a smart key system. We just have a regular key, but we do have remote start. There's no blind spot, but we do have a blind spot mirror in the main mirror right there. Not too bad. This does come with a transfer case skid plate as well. So you've got your skid plate in the front for the radiator and oil pan, plus your transfer case. This also does have functional rock sliders on the side of the body. Help you go over some rocks. You're not going to damage underneath right there. We are riding on 265 tires, which are on 17-inch wheels. These are Goodyear Wrangler tires. Definitely pretty knobby. Shouldn't have any problem with traction with those. They're 31 inches. And as you can see from the back, like I mentioned before, the fender flares are pretty wide. You get those on the ZR2. Now the back bumper was also modified for ground clearance. We don't have the step like we typically do, but you do still have the grab handles up there in the bed. This is a locking tailgate. You can get a locking tailgate on every single Colorado, plus the backup camera right there. This is also easy lift and lower. This is the short box here. It's 5 feet 2 inches. On other Colorados, obviously you can see the long box, which is 6 foot 2 inches. One thing that you get since they did the bumper deletes is we get a 30-degree approach angle and a 23.5-degree departure angle to help with your off-road. Plus we have 8.9 inches of ground clearance from the very bottom spot. The rest of the vehicle should have no problem. There's quite a bit of clearance up there, and it's 2 inches taller. You have a 2-inch lift on this vehicle. So opening up the bed, that damped tailgate lowering down, we do get 44.5 inches between the wheel wells, plus the ZR2 gives us a really nice looking bed liner right here. Plus the ZR2 is right there in the back of the cab. This bed on this ZR2, you can put 1,100 pounds of payload in there. Not too bad, but not quite what you can do with the other Colorados. The ZR2 is a couple inches taller than the regular LT, and that regular LT I had the cloth seats. In all ZR2s, you get this nice, soft leather. We even get the ZR2 badging up on the headrest, which looks pretty nice. These seats are comfortable. They do feel a little softer than the LT model. I don't see a problem staying in here at all. We do have power lumbar now, as well as the power forward, backwards, and up and down, plus manual reclining option right there. Just like in the other vehicle, we have good adjustability with this steering wheel up and down. And headroom is good at 5'9". I can put my fist above my head, no problem. We finally made it inside the Colorado. So we have a couple cubbies and a bottle holder in the door with a soft armrest. Close the door, it is pretty solid. We do still have a leather wrap steering wheel as well right here, which does feel pretty nice. Just like the Colorado LT, you've got a 4-spoke design with controls on the front and on the back. The ZR2 has a very similar key fob, the same key fob in fact with remote start and the key. We start it up. I'm going to start with this front information screen right here, right in between the instrument cluster. I do like the blue lighting that we get with the silver, or not the Silverado, with the Colorado and with other Chevys. We do have a full color display right here. So one option is you can see your off-road screen right here. It shows you that we're in 4-wheel drive. I just shifted it in so you can see the green wheels plus your pitch and your angle. So when you're off-road, you kind of know exactly what situation you're in. We scroll through. You can even see your exhaust fluid level for the diesel. And there's more information such as your speed, your trip computer, obviously, and we've just been idling. This vehicle hasn't hardly been driven at all, so don't pay attention to those numbers. And more information on here, just like you'd expect and just like on the LT. Once we get out of here, you can see your audio, your phone, your navigation, and you can customize everything on this screen as well. So what do y'all think of this layout in here? Just like the rest of the Colorados, but I do feel like it is still a pretty nice layout. I do like this center stack and how everything is laid out here. But let's go over to these controls. Right up top, we actually have a trailer brake control, which is always nice to have if you're going to be towing. We have our light controls plus our 4-wheel drive controls, and there's more to it than meets the eye. We have 2 high right now. One thing I really love is that we have auto. You turn it in auto, it's going to stay in 2-wheel drive, but 4-wheel drive will be ready to engage, and it will go to 4 high if there is slippage. I really like that for in winter conditions when you have dry roads, wet roads, slippery roads, dry roads, back and forth, on and off. Really easy and mindless to use. So we can go to 4 high, which is just like you'd expect, and then 4 low. You shift in neutral, go to 4 low, but you can push that button in, and then officially off-road mode is on. And to really go off-road, you can lock your rear locker, your front locker, and when you have off-road mode engaged, and if you lock that, it will stay locked. Even if you get to a certain speed, you will stay locked if you're in off-road mode. Plus, if you hold down the traction control, if you hold down the traction control for about 10 seconds, you will get your regular traction control to turn off, but you'll also get your StabiliTrak off. So if you're off-roading, and if you need some wheel slippage, if you actually want to spin around, slide around, go nuts and go crazy, you have the option to turn that off and lock your front and your rear differential, go into 4 high, 4 low, turn in off-road mode, and just go nuts. Right up above the display here, we do have a little bit of a extra storage cubby, which is nice to have, plus that Bose speaker system. We have a 7-speaker Bose, which is paired with this 8-inch MyLink touchscreen. This is standard on this trim, plus the projection gives you Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Everything is pretty smooth and easy to work. I do like this MyLink system. We even have buttons down here with some nice feeling knobs as well for the volume and tuning. We do have climate control. This is not the traditional manual controls. You can have it in automatic and adjust your temperature here. It would be nice to see dual zone, but you do get single zone climate control, which is easy to use with these buttons as well. Like I showed you down below, our locking differentials, traction control, your diesel exhaust brake is over here. Downhill descent control, so you can lock it into a certain speed to help you maneuver a steep downhill if you are off-roading, plus your cargo light right there. This model, the ZR2, we do get heated seats. Obviously you can do full seat, or you can do just the back of the seat for you and your passenger, as well as a small storage right there. We have a USB down below, a 12 volt there, and a pretty good sized cubby on top of that. This is our gear selector, just like the old Colorado that I showed you with the LT with the 8-speed, but this is the 6-speed. You can go all the way down into low as well. So same cup holders. They are a little bit skinny, but they accommodate my large water bottle. We even have a wireless charging mat right there, or just a storage mat, whatever you prefer. A nice soft armrest right here, plus the same setup with the skinny deep console and a USB port. It's a decent sized glove box. It doesn't lock or it's not damped, but it's not too bad. We do have an automatic dimming rearview mirror, as well as sliding visors and vanity lights and mirror. Sunglass control up there. There's no moonroofs or sunroofs in any Colorado. We have our light controls up here. The back seat's not really any different than the LT that I was in. If you want to see a detailed review of the back seat and how I fit, check out my LT video. But we do have the charging ports and the 12-volt power outlet with the little cubby. Still get the nice soft leather in the back. You can fold these headrests down, and on both sides you can fold the seat down for a different load floor there. Otherwise, you can pull that lever to lift that up and unveil some under-seat storage as well. So definitely an accommodating back seat with good space overall. Under the hood of the ZR2, the standard option is the 3.6 liter V6 that you saw in my old video, but right here we have the Duramax 2.8 liter turbo diesel, which is an inline 4-cylinder. The 3.6 has 308 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque, and that will be paired with that 8-speed automatic that I had in that last video. This one is a little bit different than the turbo diesel you will find in the other trims. It is tuned for a little bit more horsepower. We get 186 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. That's with the 6-speed automatic, and miles per gallon on this particular model will be 19 miles per gallon in the city and 22 on the highway, which still is not bad at all for an off-road machine. On top of that, the ZR2 can tow 5,000 pounds. We are just getting started with the ZR2 test drive. So right away, I gotta tell you guys, I can't take this off-road like you would want me to or like you might expect, but this is from a dealership and I am lucky enough just to be able to have it out. But I'm gonna compare it to the LT that I drove earlier. And this does have a diesel, so it's gonna be a little different. Obviously, it's gonna sound a little bit different. But right here, let's get an idea of how it goes. And right away, okay, so I was surprised by that. Obviously this does not have very much horsepower, but it's got a ball of torque, and the torque comes at 2,000 RPMs, and you can feel it. You get on it, and then it's instant. That torque just comes. So, you know, you can get the V6, or you can get the turbo diesel. Obviously the diesel is going to give you better fuel economy, going to give you more torque. In the ZR2, you'll be able to tow 5,000 pounds no matter what with both of those. So what would you guys go with? I would love to hear it. I want to know what your opinion is. I really like that this is a Duramax diesel. So we're on kind of a wavy road. Obviously it's not the flattest and not the smoothest. It looks probably flatter on camera than what it is, but there's a lot of dips and dives in it. And this thing just eats it up. You know, you don't feel it at all. Definitely feels a little bit more composed, or kind of a little more floaty than the LT that I was in. It still has a really nice feel with the handling and the steering. I'm gonna go on a gravel road here, but we're not gonna be able to go high-speed desert running or anything. Get a little bit of an idea of how solid it feels in here. There are some washboards, and I've been on here in my car, and it's so much different. You know, you can tell that this thing is made, and the tires help. You know, you got a lot of rubber on these tires. This thing is very capable. Got some pretty uneven spots up here. I know the camera definitely doesn't do it justice, and like I told you, I can't do anything crazy in here. It's a new vehicle. I don't even want to get it dirty. So another thing about this Colorado is, just like the LT, very quiet. You can hear the diesel a little bit more here than you could with the V6, but we've got the triple sealed inlaid doors, the thick glass on the windshield, thick glass on the side doors, which really makes a big difference. So there's quite a few big spots or holes, you could say, and you hardly even notice them. These tires are big enough to just kind of swallow up and go right through a hole without you really even noticing it. I would love to take this thing off-road. I tell you what, y'all, the more support that I get from you, the better chance of me getting a vehicle like this as a press vehicle, and then I can take it off-road for you and show you exactly what it does. Everything feels so composed. There's really no issue with this at all. All right, just getting onto the frontage road. Let's see how it does. You could feel that torque instantly. And it's not too bad, you know, really, even though there's less horsepower, it's really not bad. You feel that torque right away, which is definitely nice to have. You don't really even feel like you have the big knobby tires when you're on pavement. And I think that says a lot about those Goodyear tires that we have on here. Braking in this is also pretty good. It's got a nice feel to it, just like we had in the LT. And these are the Duralife rotors, the trademark Duralife rotors, and they do a pretty good job. As I was saying earlier, the steering does feel pretty light. It's very easy to maneuver. This feels a lot more nimble than you would think. If I crank it, it's got a pretty decent turning radius. You know, not too bad for a truck. We're just about to get on kind of a rougher surface, textured road. Still very quiet, hardly even, it's really impressive, guys. That's one of the most impressive things about this thing being such an off-road machine, is just how quiet it is and composed, even with these big tires. In my time in here so far, I've been pretty comfortable. I really like these leather seats. It's nice that they're heated as well. Another thing that I really like is you can see the transmission fluid temperature, which it's always nice to know if you're off-roading. You want to keep an eye on that. Even your oil pressure, if you're towing, you can keep an eye on that and to see just how hard your transmission is working. Going around another turn. So there's probably a little tiny bit more body roll in here. The suspension is obviously a different setup with this dynamic damping system that we have, and it's still no problem going around turns, even if they're a little bit sharper. Give it one more acceleration run here. Like I said, not super fast, but quick right away with that power surge of torque. To be honest, if I was not aware that this is what it is on the outside and capable of doing everything, I would be very surprised to learn that, considering how quiet and how civilized it feels while driving. One thing I really like as well is when you look out over the front, you see that black hood insert, and it just kind of gives it a muscular look. You sit up pretty high. It looks pretty good. I really like the seating position in here a lot more than I like the seating position in the Tacoma, because the adjustability was just terrible in there. So I've never driven a TRD Pro. If any of you have, I would love to hear it. For the Tacoma, I want to know how these compare. Even a Ford Raptor. I haven't been in a Ford Raptor yet. This is kind of like a mini Raptor. I've heard that this is very capable off-road, and in certain situations you can really just float over everything with the off-road suspension here. But that's going to conclude this review. Thank you for your support. I do weekly videos. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. That really helps me out on my channel. And I look forward to doing more videos for you guys, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Leave your feedback down below. I want to know how I can get better, what you liked about the video, what you didn't like about the video. If you're new to my channel, I post videos every single week. Please subscribe down below to Prime Autotainment. Also, follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Prime Autotainment for previews of what vehicles I'm going to be driving, as well as some extras. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.